Hello, I'm Joyce Woodworth. Welcome to the Spirit of Winona. Many of us have an antique treasure or two sitting around our shelves, or hiding in our closet, or proudly displayed somewhere. Some of these items have sentimental value to us. For instance, this cup that I have, I received from my 90-year-old neighbor when I was 7 years old. This cup says, "Forget me not," and she gave it to me one day after we had been eating cookies and sharing some thoughts and some memories. And she said, "I'm giving this to you so you'll remember me always." And of course, every time I look at this cup, I think of her. To me, this cup has no monetary value, but it has a lot of sentimental value. But some of my antiques, I would love to know the monetary value and the age. For instance, I have this liquor jug, which I found in an 1870s barn when I was cleaning it out. I was reaching way behind the foundation, and I pulled out this jug, and I found out it's a liquor jug, and I can just picture the farmer that lived there then going out to milk the cows and taking a little swig from this bottle. I really would like to find out the monetary value and the age of this. In fact, if we had an Antiques Roadshow in Winona, I would take that item to have it appraised. Many Winonans had the opportunity a few weeks ago to find out the age and the value of their antiques at Winona's first Antique Appraisal Fair, which was held at Watkins Administration Building. And Audrey Gorney was one of the organizers of this event. Hi, Audrey.
Hi, Joyce.
Welcome to the Spirit of Winona.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, it sounds like the event was wonderful for Watkins and for the Historical Society. Tell me about it. You were one of the organizers.
Well, we've been looking for some kind of an event, a special event, a fundraiser for the Historical Society that didn't have anything to do with the weather. Mm-hmm. We have so many that are, if the weather's bad, the event is bad. And so we've been looking for something and came across, in brainstorming, this came out, and we talked about it and thought this was a go. And so we started pulling together some appraisers and looking for who we could have appraise it. And
well, tell me how you discovered these appraisers and where they came from.
Well, initially we started with a list. We were going to have local appraisers, and it looked like kind of an overwhelming task. And fortunately, for some reason, I had saved a booklet, and I share the booklet. Mm-hmm. Came across this booklet of Minnesota antique dealers, and on the very first page found an ad that said, we'll arrange antique appraisal fairs. And so we contacted Bill Lowry, who happened to be one of our appraisers on that Saturday. And he contacted appraisers and made all the arrangements for having the appraisers. Mm-hmm. Well, then we looked at the cost and said, we don't want a special event that we may lose money on. And since we'd never done this before, I thought, we need a sponsor. And Watkins came to mind because it was just shortly after Frank Murtis had donated the Watkins, his collection, to the Historical Society, and we thought, what a neat tie-in. And we contacted them and got a positive response right away. They paid for a large portion of the cost of the appraisers, of course provided the building, which was gorgeous, mm-hmm. Provided coffee and cookies, help. They had 2 security guards, did all the publicity, and also did our printing for us. And so the cost for the Historical Society and the cost for us was just minimal. So it was a fantastic fundraiser. It was a very positive thing.
Well, tell me about the event itself. It looked like everyone was having a lot of fun at the event.
I think they were. I got there about 10:30, and I couldn't believe the line was way down the block already. I think they had been there very early. We had a lot of people coming in, a lot of very varied antiques.
We have things in our house right now that who knows are going to be antiques.
We figure probably about 500 people from all around the area. I mean, I visited for a while with a couple from Spring Grove, and we had Rochester and St. Paul.
Tell me how it worked. I know you had 5 appraisers, and tell me how, when a person came in the door, what did they have to do?
They came in, they purchased however many appraisals they wanted, and they paid only for the appraisals. So some of the people brought others to help them carry things through in that. And then they followed the long line. And then we had the appraisers listed in a program, and they could look at what their specialties were, and so they could have an idea of who they wanted to go and see. And then we had some of our members were there to help them go to an appraiser, kind of help them select. And if that appraiser didn't work, then they just went to another one.
And what was the cost to them?
It was $3 per item, up to 3 items. And we had decided that people were saying they had such a hard time deciding what to bring. We were afraid they were going to come with huge boxes, and so we limited it to 3. And the majority of them did come with 3. There were some with 1, and some with and husbands and wives, each of them with 3.
Yeah, this is where they told us to go.
Oh.
It was gotten by my mother-in-law in the early 50s. Work and everything. It's the original machine.
It's very much a 50s style.
Yeah.
Or next to your TV.
She never used it. She pawned it off on my husband when he moved away, and we never wanted it.
So you don't like it?
we keep it hidden. I've always been interested in wondering.
And I once saw, not long ago, a collection of 800 TV lamps of the 50s. 800, many were duplicates, but it was really very much this style. It kind of it was quite an overwhelming statement to see them all together. So they're becoming collectible. These were TV lamps were going for $85 a piece. This, I think, because of its rather imposing piece, would be in like the $145 range. And it looks like it has the original shade. That's important to keep that.
We just dust it off every once in a while.
Oh, but I would say definitely American. But that is rather well done by somebody with distinct art training. 1910, and I would insure that for $700. Another appraiser. It's probably been stored in a hot attic. That's what happens to varnish sometimes.
Bubbles.
Has it been up? It'll bubble like, or a fire, but this, either a fire or a hot attic for quite some time. I would just leave that. I think it's part of its charm. I wouldn't try to refinish it. It's a piece early of the 20th century. Nice inlay. As you notice, it's a New York manufacturer. The style is the American Queen Anne's style of the early 18th century, but this is a early 20th century tea table, as you know, piece, and it'd be a $300 piece for insurance. It's a nice circa turn of the century Nippon, or they called it Nippon back then.
Yeah, there are.
Japanese soft paste.
Okay.
Very, very nice style. You'll find that this is very fragile. Put in a case, of course, so cats don't knock it over.
Yeah.
They're probably bought originally together. They're the same style, same pattern.
My grandma's.
Oh.
She collect antiques.
And she bought them in this country.
I don't know where Grandma got them.
Oh.
Yeah, she was an antique.
Oh, she had nice taste. Obviously. This I'd insure for $250, and this for $200.
Well, this used to be worn, as far as I know, by the circus horses up on their head. And from what I can gather, it's from 1887. And I'm wondering what the price is. That's why I came.
And I brought this chandelier today to see if it has any type of antique value. I bought my home from a gentleman that had built the house back in 1928, and I'm sure this very heavy chandelier was in there then. I did have it one time taken to a collector who said that he thought it was from the 18th century, but I'm not sure what the value might be of it.
Well, I brought a baby rattle. I thought it was a baby rattle. I'm not sure what it was, but it's silver with a mother pearl handle, and they said it was about $150. So, kind of a jester with bells on his head. And then I brought this curious piece that looks like scissors, but it doesn't cut anything, so we can't determine what it's for. But the gentleman's going to do some more research on it so that he can possibly contact me and tell me what it's for.
Well, tell me, did you take an item in to
I
have
did.
appraised? Oh, tell me.
I have a picture that belonged to my husband's grandmother, and I had seen one similar to it in a museum. We took it, and we were one of the last ones to get in on the line to be appraised. And I brought my picture, and it was kind of interesting because the one I had seen did not have the ice water on it. So I thought, well, and the ice water does make it a little bit unique, but it's stained. And so the appraisal was about $50 or $60 with it stained. But the appraiser that I visited with gave me directions on how to take the stain off. And also he found a crack, which we hadn't found. And he said if you carry it around, you don't want to carry it by the handle because there's a little crack. But then he also took the time to give me the name of an appraiser or a man in the cities that can repair it and clean it for me. So, and then the appraisal went up to about $200. So
Is that right?
I was
Well, now
kind of interesting.
It's my understanding that you don't clean or fuss with an antique.
Well, so that's what I thought too. But I guess with these you do.
What do you look for to find an item that's unique or of value?
A lot of times we have to try to find a mark, especially like if it's an instrument. Most of those pieces are, very high technical pieces, and so there's usually a mark on there, and sometimes, hopefully, a serial number. Even if it's dating back a couple hundred years, they still did that at that time. If you were doing glass or china or porcelain, find a mark on there to help identify it. The original tag still on here.
Right. This was bought by my aunt. I think in the early 50s.
Uh-huh.
And she never used it because she always lived in a hotel and had her meals in the hotel. She was a nanny. So she just asked me if I liked to have it, and I said I don't need dishes. And then she said, well, then I'll give it to Kathy for a wedding gift. And my daughter didn't want it. I said, Kathy, accept it, and I'll give you some money for it.
This is Franciscan ware. This is the apple pattern, it's called. And Franciscan ware has become very, very collectible.
Really?
I've heard or probably found out when you researched it in the library a little bit. And there are a lot of various guides and that on it. In fact, there are actual just books out on just Franciscan ware. You have the salt and the pepper both. Is the pepper a mill where you actually grind it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Approximate value on that, on this pattern, the salt and the pepper mill, the 6-inch, which this is $225 to $250 for the pair.
$225?
For the pair. No, that's just your salt and pepper. The thing that's really going to make this worthwhile is if the entire set is the condition of this plate, which is it's unused condition.
No, she never used it. She didn't cook. She
Right.
lived in a hotel.
I mean, there's not a scratch mark or a knife, cut mark at all.
I cleaned it out with Windex.
This would be like $20 to $25 each.
She paid $1.50 for it.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting to see the mark. So it's up 1,000%. How many servings are there? 12. A lot of nice accessories, and you will find that the accessories are the pieces that will bring the value, like the salt and pepper in the cookie jar.
Oh, really?
Bowls, platters. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any idea where I could? Any suggestions if I wanted to sell this kind of doing?
There's placement companies for china and pottery, and you might want to contact them, where they actually sell pieces or entire sets. And they would possibly buy it, especially with the condition that it's in.
Great. Sounds good to me.
Well, this, as you're probably well aware, is a glove box made out of wood. And then it's a wood burn technique on here. This is kind of interesting with the character of Charlie Chaplin on there and his autograph down here. This was something that was made by the CAS company. I'm not familiar with that. That's a copyright. I'm assuming that would be the manufacturer of the gloves. And the Charlie Chaplin gloves would have been in like a style probably, or a brand name that company used. The boxes like this, and with the character that we have on here, is probably something from the late 20s, early 30s, somewhere in that era. It's in excellent condition. Looks like all the original nails are in it. People seem to save boxes. They love boxes, and would probably be in the neighborhood of $20 to $30 because of the character of Charlie on here, and it is in nice condition. Scuffed up on that. The inside, again, that's nice because it's duplicated on the inside as well. That all helps increase. I would say probably double the price then on that. So you're looking, $40 to $60 range.
Bill Lowry, the head appraiser of the fair, told us there is a list of criteria appraisers use to determine the value of an antique. They look for the quality, rarity, and condition of the antique. The person who previously owned it also influences the value. However, you do need to prove that that particular person owned it. The fashion of the times can also increase the value of the item. Bill Lowry tells us he feels like he's in the business of disappointing people because most of the items are not worth what people think they are. He also said at these appraisal fairs he sees mostly run-of-the-mill stuff. However, he will see an occasional piece he has never seen before, and that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, there's no markings at all. It does have a crack here in the handle.
Okay.
That's partly under the little metal band. Mm-hmm. Not knowing the maker, I'm guessing the age right around 1900. Okay. Give or take a few years. Boy, a book, I would refer you to a book on steins or beer mugs that you might be able to establish a better value. But I would say, and of course this is off the top of my head, of course, because I don't know, you might be able to determine by the pattern who made it and where and so on, but I would put a guess of about $125 to $150. But there again, if you were to come across a book on steins or something, you might be able to find something much better. It's a cute little size, actually. So, and I can't honestly say if that would go to its advantage in value or not.
Okay.
But that's something anyway. It's adorable.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And then this piece, let's see. Royalty would be the pattern. 46D. This will be the really exciting part. No, different mark. Well, I would guess, sort of mid 20th century, like probably about 50 years old, maybe 1940s. Do you have any idea where you got it, or?
I bought it at an auction sale, and that's probably about 15 to 20 years ago.
And how much did you pay for it then?
$16.
$16? Well, I would
noted that chinsware is quite more spendy, but the glaze, of course, is...
Yeah, it has the crazing, but I mean, it would certainly be worth 3 times that, at least, and then maybe even more, because this would be another piece, actually, that you'd be able to check on eBay and see, because, there's millions of things for sale. eBay is a great way nowadays of learning what your things are worth, because you can actually see what people are paying for them, which is sort of really what they're worth.
I'm an appraiser with Appraisal Specialist Midwest, and we're located in St. Louis Park up in the Twin Cities. I specialize in a broad variety of antiques and collectibles, furniture, china, glass, silver, coins, stamps, and collectibles. Items such as advertising, tins and memorabilia, stoneware, World's Fair commemoratives, bottles, barber-related items, quite a variety of things. It was a pharmacy bottle because you can see the numbers going up the sides here.
Like medicine or something?
Yep, little medicine bottle, but it is generic, so maybe you're talking about token value, maybe about $2-3 on that, and because it has the, it had been buried in the ground. Similarly, now this one maybe a little more because you do have the needle company. This could have been for a sewing machine fluid, you know. And I'm saying you're probably looking at here also maybe about $5 or so in value. This, I don't know. What do you know about this?
It was my grandma's, that's all I know.
Uh-huh.
I know that the little tag still got the same number as the bottom, so I thought that had to be a number that meant something.
Uh-huh. I would say this you're looking at as, you know, more of a collectible value than historic. And maybe I would say if I saw a dealer selling this, it is a cute little piece and it's in really great shape, maybe about $25 to $30. And it's a very lovely relic and souvenir.
And it means more to me because, as I said, it was something my mother gave my father as a wedding gift.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't beat it. I mean it's a.
What did you say the value again?
If insured value, I would say if I went to try to go out and on the open market replace it, I could pay up to $175, $150, $175. Now a dealer or somebody, you might find somebody selling that for $75 or less. I would consider, I'd snap it up just like that if I could buy it for that.
This just sounded like a real fun event. I've watched like antique road shows for many years, and then I have these items, these dwarf dolls. I have a collection of Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and I found these dolls at an auction a few years ago, and I really was concerned about the value, if they had increased in value since I purchased them.
Oh gosh. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread, and this is a case like this. I mean, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, I'm a collector.
Wow. See, like my wife is a big Disney fan. Now, didn't the Seven Dwarfs, wasn't that from the mid-30s?
1937, and that's when these were put on.
Yeah. And you have the tags.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I'm getting nervous here.
Yeah. Well, I think you should be. I mean, I think you should be because these are, I mean, with their tags, and Disneyana is its own thing. It's not just dolls, but, and you have the tags. Now, granted, some deterioration, which you would expect on them.
Yes.
I mean, even the names. Bashful.
I got these at an auction.
Happy and Sleepy. How much did you pay for me, ask?
$100 a piece.
Oh, you got a good deal. You got a fabulous deal. I mean, if I were going to a toy show, I would probably see each of these going, a dealer selling them for $175 to $200 a piece. If they were Mickey Mouse, it'd be about 4 or 5 times that. The Mickey Mouse is such a, like I know, well, my wife collects Mickey Mouse, so I'm somewhat familiar with that one.
Yeah.
But these are, you know, they're a second tier, kind of like, they're not quite as popular as like Donald Duck, but they're right, maybe even a third tier. It'd be like Mickey and Minnie, and then Donald, Goofy, and the third tier would be this. If you ever got the set, and what if you got a Snow White to go with it? I mean, wow. Also surf the internet because sometimes the people that are not the collectors, you may wind up finding them for $100 a piece for the others. But there are Disneyana societies, and that would probably, if I were really going to go in and zero in and check these out, they would be the ones that would know. Look at this. I suspect this is Century of Progress. Look at it. And with the
oh yeah.
It's either Monmouth or Redwood.
Yeah. Gee, these are very beautiful. I would think they'd be $2 1/4 the pair, $250, $275.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe more. $295. They're beautiful. I think maybe $300 the pair. They're really very special. They're very special. Very nice. More for you?
Yes, please. I think my cookie crumbs are in there.
Probably sometime in the 20s, 30s.
I wouldn't be surprised. This is my in-laws, and they were married in 1916, and it could have very well been.
Yeah, a pretty serving dish with the gold reverse painting on the back, which of course, you know, means it's not dishwasher safe. Not fabulously valuable, probably in that $25, $30 range. I think it's a very beautifully made ring. I think the design is absolutely lovely, and it appears to have 2 very nice rubies in it, and then wonderful pave diamonds. I'm going to just be guessing here. They're set in white gold and yellow gold. It's probably 50 years old, 60 years old.
My husband bought it for me for our 40th anniversary.
Well, it's a beautiful gift.
We didn't like it.
It really requires a jeweler who's able to kind of figure out the weight of the stones and the weight of the gold. What I'm going to tell you is going to be a horseback guess, all right? And as such, that's all it's worth. Because of the pretty and unusual style, and because of the richness of the diamonds, and it looks like it may even be European. I don't know. It's just it's very beautifully made and intricately made. I would think you're probably looking at 800,000, maybe even a little more. Ooh, green. It's a serving piece, probably for snacky things, nuts, and maybe different kinds of nuts. Let's see what else we can see. Farberware is a grand old American company.
This piece, according to my mother-in-law, belonged to my husband's great-grandmother. So this would be back in the 1800s, according to my mother-in-law, but probably not that old.
It's not that old. I think it's probably, my guess in looking at it is it's probably from the 20s. This color of glass is that kind of that depression, elegant glass stuff. You see this beautiful spring green. It's a manufactured piece. It was, it's not. This isn't hand engraving. This was stamped out.
Okay.
Now we'll have a big bowl of chips or something instead of dainty little Jordan almonds and things.
Right.
But I would expect in a store to see this probably in the $18 to $25 range. Oh, isn't she darling? And you haven't broken off any of her limbs.
No, but she does have a crack on her hat.
Chips
on her hat.
She fell over. Probably.
Yeah, probably when my grandma owned her.
Uh-huh.
And I remember she always sat on this little round table that my grandma had in her front window with a beautiful long tablecloth on it to the floor, and she always sat on that table.
Just the ornament of the hour there.
Yes.
From the 40s, my guess. Yeah. The Dalton was doing the girls with the, blowing things, and I think these were, they were just very much the colors and the sweet sentimentality to me says 40s. She's not intrinsically fabulously valuable as an object, but I think as a memory, she's wonderful. You can see her, sitting there on the tablecloth. Again, for insurance, probably $30, but a wonderful,
sentimental.
Yeah.
She's priceless. It's just fun to be here and to see all of the people and the things that they have, and to talk to people while we're standing waiting to talk to the appraisers, and to see what other people think are important to them and could be valuable to them. So I hope that people here do find that things are valuable. Oh, I had a couple pieces that I thought were relatively old. Found out that they weren't quite as old as what I had anticipated, but that's okay. They have sentimental value.
Well, was the affair successful?
It was very successful, beyond anything we ever had hoped for.
Do you think you'll do it again next year?
I think so. I'm sure the Historical Society will want to do it. And from what we've heard from Watkins, and even from some of the Watkins employees that were working it, they sounded really enthused, and we're talking about things we could change to make it a little easier for people and get them in and through this a little bit quicker. And I think we have to have more appraisers. So I think you can definitely look for it again next year about this time.
Well, I'm certainly going to look forward to it, and it sounds like it's going to be even bigger and better affair next year.
I hope so.
Okay, well, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, well, and thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining me. Please join me again next week. Until then, enjoy the Spirit of Winona.